When you wake up in the morning, before the noise of the world begins, there is a moment of stillness. It is in this moment that the first building blocks of your day and ultimately your life are laid. Most people miss it. They roll out of bed already defeated, already carrying yesterday's disappointments, already surrendering to whatever comes their way. But there is a truth so powerful, so undeniable, that once you understand it, it will shift the course of your life. You are the architect of your future, not luck, not chance, not circumstance, you. Think about it. No building ever rose from the ground by accident. No bridge appeared because the wind was blowing in the right direction. Someone somewhere imagined it first, then designed it, then built it brick by brick, beam by beam, until it stood tall against the sky. Your life works the same way, yet most people never create a blueprint. They wander through life like visitors instead of creators, hoping success will stumble upon them. It never does. Each morning, when you declare, "I am the architect of my future," you seize control over the one thing that determines everything else, your mind. Because before there is action, before there is progress, before there is success, there is thought. And thought, when directed with clarity and purpose, becomes a design for life itself. This is where so many go wrong. They allow fear, doubt, and past failures to sketch the lines of their future. They accept limitations as permanent walls rather than temporary obstacles, but the architect thinks differently. The architect envisions first, plans second, builds third. So when you speak these words each morning, you are training your mind to see possibility before you see problems, to imagine solutions before you encounter setbacks. Here is the psychological truth. The mind always seeks to align itself with the dominant thoughts you feed it. Speak limitation, and it will find reasons to stay small. Speak power, and it will search for ways to expand. That is why this simple declaration matters so much. It sets the tone for the entire day, programming your subconscious with the blueprint of confidence, determination, and clarity. Now you may ask, but what if I have no plan? What if I don't know exactly what I want yet? Then make this your first design to discover. The architect doesn't abandon the land simply because the first drawing isn't perfect. He studies, he refines, he begins again, and so must you. When you wake tomorrow morning and speak those words, "I am the architect of my future," say them like a command, not a wish. Because the moment you accept that your life will be built by design, not by default, is the moment you stop waiting for change and start creating it. There comes a point in life when you must draw a line between existing and truly living. And for most people, that line is never drawn. They wake up, they go through the motions, they follow the same predictable patterns day after day, all the while calling it life. But let's be honest, it isn't life. It's survival, it's routine dressed up as destiny, and somewhere deep down they know it. They feel the quiet frustration that whispers, there has to be more than this, and they're right. There is, but here is the uncomfortable truth. To experience it, you must refuse to be average. Not someday, not eventually, not when it's convenient today, right now, because average is the great thief of potential. It lulls you into believing that comfort equals safety, that mediocrity is normal, that settling is wisdom. But there is nothing wise about living below what you're capable of. When you wake in the morning and declare, "Today, I refuse to be average," you are rejecting the silent hypnosis that traps most people in lives they never wanted. You are refusing the idea that life is meant to be endured rather than created, and this decision, this conscious refusal, is the spark that begins every transformation. Philosophically, this is about identity. The person who accepts an average life does so because, at some level, they have accepted an average view of themselves. They look at their dreams and say, "That isn't for me." They see obstacles and whisper, "I can't." They meet challenges and conclude, "I'm not enough." And so they settle, not because they must, but because they believe they must. But the moment you refuse to be average, you are rewriting that script. You are telling your mind a new story, one in which you are not defined by past mistakes, not confined by current circumstances, and not limited by the expectations of others. You are claiming the right to grow, to expand, to rise above the ordinary. Psychologically, this matters because the human mind always seeks to prove itself right. If you believe you are average, your mind will filter the world to confirm it. It will blind you to opportunities, diminish your confidence, and sabotage your progress. But when you speak the words, "I refuse to be average," you plant a new belief, a higher one, and the mind will begin searching for evidence to match it. Now, let me be clear. Refusing to be average doesn't mean chasing perfection or comparing yourself to others. It means demanding progress from yourself, expecting more from your day than just getting through it, and setting a standard that challenges you to grow. So tomorrow morning, when the world tempts you to hit snooze on your ambition, remind yourself, average is crowded, but greatness is waiting. And it's waiting for those bold enough to rise above the ordinary. If there is one truth that shapes the entire course of your life, it is this: your thoughts create your reality. The world you live in, the opportunities you see, or fail to see, the limits you feel, the dreams you chase or abandon, all of it begins in the quiet workshop of your mind. And yet, most people treat their thoughts as if they were nothing more than background noise, never realizing they are building a life based on the blueprints they themselves allow. Consider this for a moment. Every bridge, every invention, every work of art, every business empire, before it existed in the physical world, it first existed in the mind of someone who believed it possible. The Wright brothers flew in their minds before they ever flew across the sky. Edison lit the world in his imagination long before he lit a single bulb. The mind conceives and reality follows. That is the order of creation. It always has been. But here's the tragedy. Most people spend their mental energy on fear, on doubt, on reasons why things won't work. And then they wonder why their lives feel small, why opportunities seem scarce, why nothing changes. It's because the mind, once given a dominant idea, begins shaping reality around it, subtly, consistently, and with absolute loyalty. Feed it limitation, and it will find ways to keep you limited. Feed it possibility, and it will begin searching for proof that you were right to believe. Psychologists have long understood this principle. The human mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined thought and reality when it comes to emotional response and subconscious programming. Think about failure long enough, and your body will feel the weight of defeat before you've even tried. Picture success vividly with conviction, and your mind begins rehearsing it as if it were inevitable. This is why what you tell yourself each morning matters so much. When you wake and declare, "My thoughts create my reality," you are reminding yourself of the power you hold over the day ahead. You are choosing to feed your mind images of strength, confidence, and success rather than leaving it vulnerable to fear and distraction. And as you do this day after day, something begins to shift. Your decisions align with your vision. Your actions follow your thoughts, and slowly your life starts to resemble the images you once held only in your imagination. So the real question is not whether thoughts create reality. They always do. The real question is, what kind of reality are you building with the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind? Because whether you realize it or not, you are the painter and your life is the canvas. Life will test you. It always does, and it has a peculiar way of showing up uninvited, sometimes as setbacks, sometimes as disappointments, sometimes as outright failures that shake you to your core. Most people, when these moments arrive, shrink back. They complain, they curse their circumstances, they question why life seems unfair. But here is the truth the successful eventually learn. Challenges are not roadblocks, they are teachers. They carry within them the lessons you need to rise to the next level of your own potential. When you wake each morning and declare, "I welcome challenges as my teachers," you are rewriting the way your mind interprets difficulty. You are no longer seeing problems as enemies, but as invitations to grow. Because what is a challenge, really? It is simply reality confronting you with the areas where you must become stronger, wiser, more resilient. It is life asking, do you truly want what you say you want, and are you willing to become the kind of person who can handle it? Think about it. No one develops courage by reading about it in a book. No one masters perseverance by coasting through easy victories. Strength of mind, of character, of spirit comes only when life forces you to stretch beyond what you thought you could endure. And while the experience itself may feel harsh, the transformation it brings is priceless. Philosophically, this is the law of growth. A seed must first crack before it can rise into the light. The human spirit is no different. We, too, must break through old limitations, old patterns of thinking, old fears, before we can reach our fullest expression. Challenges are simply the pressure that cracks the shell. Without them, we remain the same. And the same never leads to greatness. Psychologically, welcoming challenges rewires the brain's response to adversity. When you approach obstacles with curiosity rather than dread, your mind shifts from survival mode into problem-solving mode. You begin to look for solutions instead of excuses. You search for lessons instead of places to assign blame, and in doing so, you expand not just your skills, but your very capacity for life itself. So tomorrow, when a challenge arises, and it will, pause for a moment and remind yourself, this is not here to defeat me, it is here to teach me. Maybe it is teaching patience. Maybe it is building resilience. Maybe it is strengthening my focus or sharpening my strategy. Whatever the lesson, I will not run from it. I will learn from it. Because in the end, the people who rise highest in life are not the ones who face no challenges. They are the ones who learn to turn challenges into stepping stones. So, welcome them. Each one carries a key to the stronger, wiser version of you waiting to emerge. It's an interesting thing about life. Two people can stand in the very same place at the very same moment, looking at the very same world, and one will see nothing but barriers while the other sees nothing but possibility. The difference is never the world itself. The difference is perception. Most people move through life convinced that opportunity is scarce, that success is reserved for the lucky, the gifted, or the well-connected. They believe life is a closed system, a game already rigged, with no room left for them to win. And because they believe this, they stop looking for doors. They stop listening for the knock of chance on their lives. They walk past possibilities every single day because their minds have been trained to expect nothing new. But when you wake each morning and declare, "I am surrounded by opportunity," something remarkable begins to happen. It is not that the world suddenly changes for you. It's that you begin to change for the world. Your mind opens, your eyes sharpen. You start to notice things you once ignored. The conversation that might have seemed random yesterday suddenly sounds like the beginning of a partnership. The challenge that once felt like a setback now reveals itself as the seed of a breakthrough. Opportunities were always there. You simply weren't seeing them. Philosophically, this is one of life's greatest truths. Reality tends to reflect the attitude we bring to it. A negative mind will interpret even blessings as burdens, while a positive, opportunity-focused mind can turn obstacles into stepping stones. This isn't blind optimism. It's training yourself to become a better observer of possibility. The world is full of people, needs, problems, and ideas waiting to be connected. That is all opportunity really is, the right connection at the right time with the right mindset to recognize it. Psychologically, declaring that you are surrounded by opportunity engages something powerful in the brain called the reticular activating system. This is the mental filter that decides what information to notice and what to ignore. Tell yourself the world is empty, and your brain will filter out the very chances that could change your life. Tell yourself the world is overflowing with possibility, and your brain will begin collecting evidence to support it. What you focus on expands, always. So when you speak these words each morning, you are setting the tone for how you will interpret the day ahead. You are choosing to look for doors instead of walls, for beginnings instead of dead ends. And over time, you will discover that opportunity was never rare. It was only hidden from those who stopped expecting it. Remember this. The world is not short on opportunities. It is short on people willing to see them. Be one of the few who does. There comes a moment in every life when hesitation must die, a moment when the endless weighing of options, the fear of failure, the waiting for perfect timing must all be silenced by one thing, a decision. Because nothing in life truly begins until you decide, not casually, not half-heartedly, but with a firmness so unshakable that the entire world begins to bend toward your will. Most people never reach this point. They live in what I call the almost stage. They almost start the business. They almost pursue the dream. They almost change their lives. But years go by, and all they have are stories of what they almost did. Why? Because they never decided with finality. They allowed fear to bargain with their future. When you wake each morning and declare, "I am unstoppable when I decide," you are affirming a profound truth about human nature. The power to commit is the power to create. Once the mind reaches a true decision, the energy of indecision vanishes, doubt loses its grip, obstacles shrink because the mind stops negotiating with them. The decision has already been made, and everything else becomes a matter of execution. Philosophically, this aligns with one of life's most important principles. Nature respects boldness. Life moves for the person who moves with certainty. Doors open for those who refuse to stand at the threshold forever asking, "What if?" And it is no mystery why this is so. A decision, once made with full conviction, focuses the mind like a lens concentrates light. It gathers scattered thoughts, scattered energy, scattered intentions, and channels them into one burning direction. Psychologically, decision is liberation. Indecision is paralysis. The human mind craves clarity. It functions best when given a definite aim. Waver too long, and the brain drifts into anxiety, second, guessing, and procrastination. But decide, truly decide, and the mind begins mobilizing every resource it has to fulfill that decision. It becomes creative, persistent, and relentless because it finally knows where it is going. This is why so many lives change in a single moment, not over years. One decisive instant can redirect the entire course of a future, but the decision must be total, no back doors, no escape routes. When you say, "I am unstoppable when I decide," you are telling yourself, and the world, that there is no turning back. That your mind is made up, that you will either find a way or make one, and here's the beauty of it. Once you taste the power of true decision, you stop waiting for motivation. You realize action creates momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. So when life offers you a dream that stirs your soul, do not linger at the edge, decide, because destiny favors the decisive.